Hello and welcome to my weekly video blog, and today on A Vogel Talks Menopause I'm going to be talking about why good posture matters in the menopause. Now if you like my tips and advice, then please subscribe and remember to hit the bell icon so you can be reminded of all future videos. So why does good posture matter in the menopause? Problem in the menopause is that falling hormones can affect our joints, it can affect our muscles. That in turn can affect and weaken our posture, and that can have a direct effect on some of the menopause symptoms that we may be experiencing and can in some cases make them worse. So why does this happen? The main thing is falling estrogen. Falling estrogen can affect the strength and stability of our bones and our joints. So it can basically weaken everything. Our muscles can also get weaker as well, which means it takes more effort for us to stand up straight and to have good posture. The other things that can happen is that we can end up with joint pain as well as weak joints, and that can have a huge impact on how we hold ourselves. If we have sore knees or sore hips, very often we will tend to favour the side that's less painful, and that can have a very marked effect on our posture. Obviously, if the bones are weakening, then we can become more prone to osteoporosis. The joints can then become less stable, and again, some of them, especially in the neck and the upper back, can start to crumble, and that can produce what we would call the dowager's hump, which again can have quite a profound effect on our posture. If our joints and muscles are out of line, the body has to work that much harder in trying to keep everything stable. This uses up energy, and if we're already fatigued, then this can have a marked effect on our sleep and also on our mood as well. If you're not getting a good night's sleep, you will also find that your mood is lower and your pain perception can increase. So it can create this really negative cycle as far as the joints and the muscles are concerned. What can happen too is if we're tending to hunch a lot, that can compact our digestion, and we know that falling estrogen can affect our digestion anyway. So poor posture, especially upper poor posture, can have a direct effect on stomach function. That in turn may create acid reflux, it can create indigestion, it can give you a lot of wind. The other thing that can happen, which I find really interesting, and a lady just contacted me recently to say that she'd started to have very frequent periods as she was approaching the menopause. She went to a chiropractor for a general checkup, and he told her that her hips were out of line and that was having a direct effect on her periods. And amazingly, after some treatment where everything was sort of put back to normal, her periods went back to normal as well. So as you can see, something seemingly unconnected to your posture can be a big factor in the menopause. So it's well worth checking all these things out. The other thing that can happen is that if we start to lose our posture, if we get that little bit of a hunch at the back, it can affect the way we look, it can affect our self-esteem, and that can have an effect on our confidence too. So how can you maintain good posture? You need to be aware of whether your posture is good or not. One of the things you can do is to stand in front of a mirror, and if you're just standing as you would normally, your palms should be facing towards your legs and your thumbs should be facing forward. Very often if you start to slouch, or if you find your shoulders going or your back going, your palms will start to turn out. So that's something of a really good indication that things might be starting to slip as well. So double check that. Watch as well, if you're like me, you spend a lot of time at a desk. When I'm in the office, I usually find that I start off straight in the morning, and then towards 5 o'clock I find I end up getting really hunched over my desk, especially if I'm doing a lot of key work. So again, regularly check your posture when you're sitting at a desk. Take a couple of deep breaths, and you can just gently roll your shoulders back and down. That can make a lot of difference as well, especially if you find that you get neck ache or backache on a regular basis. Also, make sure that you keep moving. This is part of the problem, especially when we're desk bound, is that our muscles and joints end up being placed in one position for an awful long time, and your joints can seize up. I know I find that if I tend to go more than about an hour at my desk, I start to hobble as I get up, because my hips tend to get a little bit stiff. So make sure that you do get that regular time standing up and maybe walking about, and just again help to keep your shoulders back. Get your eyes checked, because one of the things that can happen is that if you start to squint when you read, your head and your face very often goes forward, and that again can affect your neck and your shoulders too. So if you're doing a lot of peering, then definitely get your eyes checked out. The other thing you can do is go and see a practitioner who specialises in posture related problems. If you're getting any joint aches and pains, if you feel things are out of line, or somebody's going to mention to you that you look as if you're a little bit uncomfortable, chiropractors are great, because they can usually tell very quickly what's out of line and give you a program. Look at Pilates. This is a fabulous therapy for getting things back under control, and it can help to strengthen your core muscles, and that can have a huge impact on your general posture as well. You can also look at Alexander technique. This is another great one, and this is one that can sometimes work really quickly at helping you to get your posture and any related problems back to. The other thing is maybe just have a look on YouTube. This is great for finding out exercises and other issues that are connected to your posture. So I hope you found this one helpful. If any of you out there have any other tips, maybe for helping yourself while you're at your desk at work, or any other exercises or therapies that you have found to be really helpful, then please do share them with us. And I will look forward to seeing you next week for another edition of A. Vogel Talks Menopause.